and welcome back. We're now moving on to our feature discussion of the week, which is, coming off the back of the PlayStation 5 event that happened, where they gave off some more of the games and the prices. We are going to discuss which company has done a better job leading up to the next console generation. Is it the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series X? So I guess we'll open up to the floor. Scotty.
Well, guys, I don't really have much to say about these, so I'm going to go get my buddy, Old Man Gamer. His friends call him OMG. Ha, hilarious. So I'll be back. I mean, he'll be back. See you later.
All right, well, I guess we'll see Scotty or Old Man Gamer here in a minute.
Yeah, hopefully Scotty will come back later, but let's check out OMG. OMG. While Old Man Gamer's getting ready, let's run down the prices. So as we said, the PlayStation, Sony announced the price of the PlayStation. Xbox has already previously announced the prices, so we're excited to see what it's going to cost. And it seems the PlayStation 5 is comparable to the Xbox Series X price-wise. So both them in dollars is $499. In pounds, they're both £449, and in euros, they're both 499 euros. And then there's a slight difference, though, in the disk drive-less versions. So the PS5 digital is $399 or £359 or 399 euros. The Xbox Series S, which is the the digital version of the Xbox, is £299. $299, £249, or 299 euros. So the Xbox Series S, the digital only version, is £100 or $100 cheaper. But the main events, the big ones, are the same price, which is pretty interesting, I think. Do you have any opinions on that at all, Chris, going in?
Well, I think for the top tier models, I think it makes sense that you have the PS5, the Xbox Series X. They're both at that like $500 mark. I think that's to be expected. I was expecting it to be right around there. I thought there's no way they could reach $399. With the right out of the gate. So $499 is like right where I expected it to be. I think the more interesting is the second tier models from both Sony and Microsoft, because you have the PS5 digital version, which is essentially has the same internals and capabilities and features as your base PS5, but it just doesn't have like an optical drive in there. So it's only going to be playing digital games. Whereas with the Xbox Series S, it's essentially from a capability standpoint, it's kind of a lower tier model. You could basically compare it maybe to like the Xbox One X compared to like the Xbox One S with this current generation. So it's like you basically have the top tier model and then you have a second tier. So that's, I think, the most interesting aspect in this discussion. It's like which of these like second tier models make the most sense? Would it be the PS5 because you're basically getting the best, the best capabilities, but in a cheaper model, so you can still play at 4K, do all that stuff, but that's $400, or the Xbox Series S, which is still going to be able to play all the same games, but if you don't have a crazy like 4K Ultra HD TV in your house, that you don't need all the 4K stuff, you can get the Xbox Series S for $300. And you can still play all the cool games, like your friends are playing, and you still have a new system, but it's, really at a very big discount from, the $500 Xbox Series X.
Yeah. And that is something that's quite fascinating, because I wasn't sure to be honest, I wasn't sure what X was going to do initially. I thought the Series S might be like what Sony has done. It would be the same thing, just without a disc. And then when the Xbox Series S was revealed and they showed that it was going to be less powerful, but able to still run the same games, but just, I guess, not as optimally, I sort of thought, oh, maybe Sony's going to go that route, because I knew they were going to PS5 digital, but then they went, we're actually going to have exactly the same thing, but no disc. So that was actually quite interesting for me. But I'm glad Xbox or Microsoft was able to have their Series S at a lower price point than all of them. Because I feel like, well, for Xbox fans, if they had it at the same price as the PS5 digital, that would be a no-brainer, really. PS5 digital would be the better option, effectively, because it's the same power, just no disc. So yeah, I think it's going to be quite interesting. I don't think I've ever seen a console launch that's had the price exactly the same for each the main rivals. Like, have you ever seen that?
I'm trying to think, like, maybe back in
I tell you, they're all too expensive. That's what I say. Old man gamer here. Old man gamer.
God.
I got to wear these large glasses because you kids in your H2 Hummers are making the hole in the ozone layer bigger, and I can't see anything now. I tell you, the PS5 and the X-Man Series X aren't looking like anything I loved back in my day. You had your fun furry creatures and your Bronx plumbers going at it with the consoles, and it was all good and fine. Nothing looks fun. It's all nickel and diming you with those new hats and coats, which I hate, even though I love fine hats. Look at my fine hat. And you giving me when my dad came over on the Mayflower, he had to go work in the steel mills, and we had one console, and it was one console per home.
Wow, OMG, welcome, old man gamer.
So I take it, old man gamer, you're not very excited about the new generation of consoles coming out soon.
I want to get spooked by those werewolves and maybe play some Spider-Man, but I don't care about anything else at all.
Wow,
too many graphics. I don't have my 8K. I still got what you kids called the boob tube.
See, that's what I was going to say. That's what I was saying earlier, OMG, is that for someone that doesn't have a 4K TV, maybe the Xbox Series S, which is the cheapest of the next generation of consoles at $299, that could be something for maybe someone like you, that you don't care about all the bells and whistles. You just want the core experience.
Looks like I can fry an egg on it, so that's fine with me.
It can play your favorite video games and cook you breakfast. All in one.
That's all. Well, that's what the woman's for, but that's fine too.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Really old school, man. Okay.
Should we what were you going to say, Graham?
I was going to say, should we look into the different launch titles and such?
Yeah. Let's look at the different launch titles, because basically there's going to be a lot of games available at launch for both systems, retail games. And I was kind of surprised looking through this list because it's more than I thought it was going to be, but most of it's all going to be available on both systems at launch.
Right.
I guess the ones we should maybe talk about are just what are the exclusive titles at launch for each system, and then we can kind of talk about it from there. I'll say the PS5 ones, and Graham, I'll let you do the Xbox Series X ones.
Okay, that sounds fair.
So for PlayStation 5, we have Godfall, which is a console exclusive. It's going to be available on PC. We have the Miles Morales Spider-Man game, which will also be on PS4. So if you have a PS4, you can play it there. And then Sackboy: A Big Adventure, which is also going to be on the PS4 as well at launch. So I guess there are also a few others. Astro's Playroom will be one. Demon Souls and Destruction All-Stars are other exclusive games.
Okay. So are those last couple actually launch titles, or are they just, we know they're exclusive?
These are the PS5 launch out exclusives. I'm sorry I didn't put that on the outline. It's on this. Actually, I'll just drop it in here.
This other list you have.
It's my other list. Click that, and you'll see. Because this list basically breaks it down between the PS5 launch title exclusives, console exclusives, and like all the systems. Okay. All the games going on both. So
cool. Did you want to just go through the other launch titles that are not exclusive, or do you want me to do the Xbox ones?
You do the Xbox exclusive ones, and then we'll just quickly go down what's going to all the multi-console.
Cool. So Xbox Series X and S launch console exclusives. You got Forza Horizon 5, which is also going to be on PS5 and Xbox One. Gears 5, also on PC and Xbox One. Wait, it's Gears 5? That's the one that's already out, isn't it?
Yeah, because these are already, it's already on those, but it's also going to be on PS5. Or, I mean, I'm sorry, Xbox.
Yeah, everything was backwards compatible when I played games.
In fact, I think a lot of these are probably already out. That are
I guess. Oh, sorry, just losing got a frog in my throat there. So Gears Tactics, which is also out. That's on PC and Xbox One. The Falconeer, also on PC and Xbox One. Tetris Effect Connected, which is also PC and Xbox One. Wow.
I played Tetris, I know that one.
Yes, Tetris is back, Old Man Gamer. It's still going strong.
Yes, Tetris.
You can actually colours on the blocks now. Excellent. And then I guess, so the other launch titles that are coming out, but not exclusives. We've got Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which was a big one. Like Xbox Series X showed that off in their events, but even though it's not exclusive, they're like, yeah, check this stuff out. Destiny 2 Beyond Light, Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition, Dirt 5, Fortnite, Madden NFL 21, Marvel's Avengers, NBA 2K21, Watchdog Legions, and on the PlayStation 5 they've got Observer System Redu, or Redux. See, I think that's the original way of saying that word is Redu, because it's a French word, but everyone in America says Redux, so okay. And on Xbox, a launch title is Yakuza Like a Dragon, which is not coming out straight away on PS5, but it's going to be on PS4, Xbox One, and PC, and also Observer System Redux, plus all the others like Assassin's Creed Destiny and stuff that we just mentioned. So it looks like the only difference there actually is Yakuza, really, being not an exclusive, but being a launch title on Xbox. So I guess, Xbox technically is getting more games coming out on it. However,
but it's all just stuff that's like already available.
That's literally what I was about to say, Chris. You just blew me out of the water there. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
My next words were going to be
in the war.
My next words were going to be, however, the PS5 seems to have more exclusive titles that are going to be, even if they're on PS4, they are just PlayStation exclusive. So, and also they're not ones that are really out right now. These are future games, whereas a lot of the Xbox ones seem to be ones that have already come out this year. So it's a bit strange. What do you think of this, Old Man Gamer? Like, how are you thinking of it?
Fortnite in my Dirt 5. I actually don't know what that is.
Okay.
Scotty told me he didn't want Fortnite in anything.
I did it in just a like to criticize the Xbox and saying like all their stuff. I think that's a criticism across the board on both like Sony and Microsoft's part, because if you look at most of these games are just basically like remasters or even just they are porting it over from like last gen consoles. So there's just honestly across the board there's not a ton where I'm like, oh my god, I really really have to play that. Godfall on the PS5 looked cool. I mean that Miles Morales Spider-Man game looks cool, but if I never played it, I would be fine. And I don't know, man. There's not a lot where I'm like looking at it right now, and like I really, really need to play it on that.
Yeah.
What about you? Like, is there something that like what are these launch titles? Or does anything get you excited?
So this is the thing. I feel like the launch titles, reading the list, no, not really. Like Yakuza Like a Dragon, maybe. That's probably actually one that I would like to go for. Like if I was to go, because originally it was going to be Halo, but as we all know, Halo's been delayed, so it's not going to be a launch title anymore. So Yakuza Like a Dragon is probably the one that does get me the most excited, because I just like the Yakuza games. But yeah, it's been a struggle really, this one. Old Man Gamer, do any of these games interest you? Is it just Tetris or?
I think it's the only one.
I wasn't kidding. I really don't know what Dirt 5 Fortnite is. Is Fortnite in Dirt 5 now? What's going on with that?
No, they're two different games.
Those are different games.
Oh, you kids and your graphs and your pie charts, delicious pie. Oh, I remember we'd make the pie and we'd set it on the windowsill and let it cool and it'd be wonderful. I think I've overstayed my welcome as this hilarious character, so I'm going to bring Scotty back in.
Oh, man.
Wow. Just to point out for the listeners and the audience, we have a list, and Dirt 5 and Fortnite are on two separate lines. So I don't know how we confuse that.
Dirt 5 Fortnite.
Oh, dear. I'd play that.
That does not
Man. So yeah, I guess Chris, to answer talk about our main discussion.
I told you can't say stuff like that. Women are, it's equal now. I don't think that's how it really is. All right, get out. You're never coming. But
Let's not talk to him about who he's going to be voting for.
Get out of here. Sorry about that, guys. He's a bit of a confused old man. So
I was afraid you guys were going to get into politics next and maybe ask who he's going to be voting for.
He's trying to vote for Reagan again right now. So,
wow.
Well, by some of his answers there, it seems like he might be a bit out of touch. So I can understand.
Yeah. Well, it's good to see the elder generation's perspective for once. So
no, it's not.
Oh man.
Boy.
But I guess to answer the question, which company do you think has actually done a better job leading up to the launch? Which one has made you actually? I'm a bit more excited, even if maybe you're not going to get it. You might just. I did
have one other thought on this before we go into that, because this is directly related to the PS5 digital edition, and so I'm just wondering, how much are you going to be really saving if you save $100 off the bat and you get only the digital edition? Because you got to think about it. At that point, you are locked in to buying these games from Sony and only Sony, and you're buying it from only their ecosystem. And so essentially,
at the same price as a physical game too.
Exactly, and that leads into my point: is you're not going to be. You're not going to enjoy the benefits of, a capitalistic ecosystem anymore. You're stuck with Sony, and whatever they price it at, you're going to have to buy those games. Whereas if you get the physical edition, you can buy these games at GameStop, at Best Buy. You can still buy it digitally from Sony if you want. You could buy it anywhere. And these companies are competing with each other, and so they're going to have different markdowns and different things like that. So if you think you're really saving money, if you're buying the PS5 and you want to go for the digital edition because you need to save the money, I would say buy the $500 PS5 because you're going to save more money over the lifetime of the system because you're going to be able to buy cheap games, at GameStop or used games. But you're not going to be able to do that on the digital edition because you have to buy them from the PlayStation Store.
Yeah.
And sometimes they have good deals, but other times, like if maybe you want to go back and play a game like Tales of Vesperia because you just get the itch to do it, but it's not on sale right now and it's still like $40 when you could go to GameStop and buy it used for $15.
Did you guys mention Game Pass though, and whatever Sony's doing?
Not yet. That was something I was going to bring up actually in a little bit, but you make a great point there, Chris. Because like just buying secondhand games is out of the question for you, I guess, and lending games to friends, I guess, is kind of out of the question. You can't really pop around to your mate's house and be like, "Oh, I've got this new PS5 game. Do you want to pop it in?" Wait, I can't because you don't have a disc drive in that thing.
Yeah, and that's not to say that people are only going to buy the PS5 digital edition because they want to save the money. I'm not saying that's the only reason why people are doing that. I think there's a lot of people out there that just I don't care about going and buying a disc. When it comes out, I can preload it on my system. I can buy it digitally, and right at midnight, my favorite game's available. I can play it, and that's all I care about. It's the convenience, and that's worth it for them. And so having a $400 system that you're not having to pay the bloated price for an optical drive, pay another $100. So I do think there's a segment of the demographic out there that the PS5 digital edition is perfect for. Now, how big of that in the whole pie chart, if we want to talk about pie charts again, of that demographic, I'm not sure. I don't know if it'd be worth it, to be honest. But I do think that there is a segment of the population out there that this is targeted at.
Yeah. And I also wonder if this is going to cause problems for especially younger gamers who maybe can't afford to buy these consoles themselves. They have to rely on parents and, birthday and Christmas presents. If this will cause confusion. They want the PS5 or Xbox Series X, the main one, but the parents see, the Xbox Series S, this plays all the same games and it's like $200 cheaper or something. Why don't I get that? And it's not, as we've just spoken about, the Series S is a less powerful console compared to the Series X. I mean, it's going to play the same games, but we know that it's got no disk drive.
There's some bad kids on Christmas that get some fucking Xbox Series S and like, what? You got me the Series S? This sucks. Jimmy got a Series X, and I have to get a Series S. That's what's going to happen. You're going to have pissed off kids that because kids care about this stuff. Like that's why on Fortnite they sell these skins for $15, $20, and kids are buying them because they care about like what they look like in video games and stuff. And for them, and so I think it does matter to young kids of getting a Series X, getting that top tier console versus getting a gift and you get a Series S and you're opening that on your birthday.
Yeah.
It's a vicious cycle because more GameStop stores are closing. That was in the news. We don't need to go into that. But like if you go to, and if we rewind to when I mentioned that parents aren't going to know which system their kids already have, and they're not going to know they don't have the diskless thing. So like, Chris is the exception where he knows all the consoles his kids have. So he'll walk in, he'll grab something. He knows what each of them need and whatever. But there's going to be mom and dad or clueless grandparents that walk in and they're like, I know he likes the God of War, but maybe this is the generation that little Jimmy went all download. So they buy him the new God of War Ragnarok, hand him the disc for Christmas. But the games, they're not buying it at GameStop. They're just cruising into a Walmart or Target. The clerk's saying, you want this? All right, cool. But at GameStop, people are going to be like, do they have this? Do they need this thing? Do they have whatever? Do they even play games? Do you have internet at your house? Like,
yeah.
And then that tailors into how lame is Christmas going to be for, I don't know, this might be splitting hairs, but like the kids that have an all digital system, like all they're going to unwrap is a PS or a Xbox gift card. It's so boring.
You're going to get lots of accessories, like lots of bullshit, accessories that you don't need.
Right. It's a very strange cycle that we're getting into, and this is what they wanted to do last generation. There was talk of both consoles having no disk drives, not varying models, but just no disk drive. I know that. So I think Microsoft might have been in harder talks than that than Sony, but I forgot my initial question that I was answering now.
I have a scenario I want to throw at you guys that's directly related to this. So if you're GameStop, if you're Best Buy, what is it like? What's in it for you to stock a PS5 digital console when you know that you're basically selling that unit and you're getting no revenue outside of that one sell? With the consoles trying to push everything digital, you have stores like GameStop that are fighting to stay alive by selling physical retail products. I guess one thing that would, it's not the same, but a lot of game stores over here, especially, they sell the little cards with the digital codes to download a game on the Xbox or PlayStation at the moment. So, like my brother one Christmas got me Rare Replay. He didn't buy me the disc though, because it actually sold out, but he got me the little card for the same price, basically. So, I mean, that was not as cool for me, but at the same time, I was like, oh, this is quite nice. I do get to open something, and I get to put the code in, and I get to download the game. So they could.
Oh, was it a code for the game, or was it a code for that amount of points?
No, it's a code for the game. You actually get cards for the game specifically.
That's different than over here. Okay, interesting.
Have I got it on my shelf? I have it on my shelf still. Wait. Where's it? Oh, wait, my Xbox One stuff's up there.
Because you could only, at least when I worked at GameStop, even though you were selling and I remember this vividly when they first started the section of download cards, because I bought for my girlfriend at the time. She just got a 360 and we were going to play the Ninja Turtles arcade game online. So I bought her a card with that picture on it. but actually, since I worked there, I just took the card. I got the okay to do that, even though you get a number on a download code on your receipt. And even then, it was only for like 800 Microsoft points. It wasn't for specifically the game. So that's why, like, I felt dumb. Like, I don't want to just give her 800 MS points. That doesn't feel cool. So I actually took the card and like wrapped that up. And I was like, we can play this game together, that kind of thing. Because that was at least something.
Yeah, so I've actually
That's interesting that's for the specific game. Mm-hmm.
I've lost the actual game card they gave me, but I've got the receipt still and a little gift wallet. So
game. It says, oh no, that's the store though. I thought it just said game generically on there.
But even on the receipt, it actually has the code for the game itself. So that's quite handy. So even if you do lose, but yeah, it's like you can buy a little card that says like the game name on it. It's got a code that you scratch off. And so yeah, that's one thing game stores are selling over here, which kind of takes it out, I guess, the Microsoft ecosystem in a way, because in theory, Game could sell that game for £10 cheaper than you get on the store, even though it's a digital code. Although I'm not sure if they would do that. Sorry, what do you mean?
You mean physically? Sell it $10 cheaper physically?
Like they've got the card. They sell the cards in store. They pay like they can price those cards in store what they want to. In theory, if that makes sense, like a game.
Really?
Well, why not? It's that's
illegal. Because you would be. Are we talking? We might not be talking about the same thing. Because I'm talking about like
the card for the code for the game itself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
because all we have over here
cost though.
What's that?
The only thing we would have over here is you would buy different increments of Microsoft points. That dumb weird system.
I'm talking about for what we do over here, where you can buy the game, but it's the code for the game. You basically buy a little card that says, I don't know, God of War on it. You take that home. Jimmy scratches off the back of the card. It's got a code on it. You type that code in. He's got God of War. He can't get any other game. Yeah. He's got God of War. In the physical store, they can, in theory, price those little cards that say God of War on it at what they want to. If that makes sense. I mean, it's not fucked up. It's how they would do it. It's basically them. There's no difference them having the card and a physical game, like being like, you can get this. Hold on a second. There's one little card thing.
I guess the way I'm seeing it,
you could buy this game for $11.99, or you can buy this unlockable downloadable code also for $11.99. But on the digital store, this might be £15 or something. Is that? Am I just talking?
I understand what you're saying.
I feel like as old man Scotty come back or something. What's going on?
No, I'm talking about legitimate business practices, because that, to me, what you're saying is you could walk into a GameStop, see that $20 Microsoft point card, which is equal to like 1,800 points, whatever their weird system was that they, thank God, got rid of. You guys remember that though, right? Like 230 points equal to $1 or something. So what I'm saying is, what you sound like you're saying to me is walk in for $20, you'd get a $2,000 Microsoft point game, or let's say it's like Castle Crashers. Let's say it's say it's Castle Crashers. I grabbed that DLC card for Castle Crashers. That's $20. I hand it to them. They scan the back. It shoots out a code on the receipt, and maybe that's for Castle Crashers. But those cards are supplied to them by Microsoft, so they cannot change the prices on those things, because that's essentially selling a game cheaper on their download service than what Microsoft wants to.
My understanding is, maybe I don't know how the business model works. Maybe I am incorrect there, but if a computer game store is going out of business, they want to sell off all their stuff, they can drop down the price of a physical game. And my understanding is they can also do that with those cards as well. Because
I don't think that's I don't know if that's correct. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying wrong.
Maybe I'm wrong.
That sounds like some shady shit.
Let me finish the rest of my thought because this was a two-parter, and then I got interrupted, and you guys went down.
I am so sorry, Chris. Yeah.
It makes me feel better for interrupting you earlier, so it's fine.
Okay, good.
We're even. No, what I was going to say though is, okay, so now you have GameStop that's like fighting off this a gradual change to an all digital world. But what I was going to suggest, and like I wanted to like throw it to you guys to see what you thought, is like when you go now and buy a Blu-ray like DVD or Blu-ray copy of a movie, oftentimes you open that movie and you get the disc, and you also get a digital code to unlock that thing. So now you can go onto like an app on your like Roku or Fire Stick or whatever, and you can just open that app, and your code, your movies, your digital movies library is right there. What I was going to say is, like, what if GameStop started, making deals with publishers? Because I think that's probably how you have to maybe work it. And there's probably a lot more, behind the scenes stuff that you have to do. But what if they started doing that with physical games, where you could get a physical copy, but you'd also get a digital code as well that you could unlock and tie it to your account. So then that way, maybe later on you trade the game in to GameStop and you get your $20 credit or whatever, but you could still keep the digital code tied to your account after maybe like a 6-month period of time or something like that. That way you stop the people
I'd be down.
that you stop the people that basically come around, buy the game, turn around and trade it in, and you keep the digital code, and you stop that.
How can they police that though? Because if I buy the game and I put the digital game thing
Because you're buying it, you're buying it from GameStop, and you're not going to be able to trade it in at a GameStop. So
I see. So it would be GameStop that polices that. Okay.
Yeah, I would say this would be a GameStop, like program basically that, and then like you buy it from GameStop, you're getting the physical and digital code. And then if you're going to trade it in, where else are you trading games anymore? I don't know if any of the other companies still do that. I know GameStop does. And so GameStop's where everyone trades stuff in at.
We got the mom and pop stores like Warp Zone.
Sure. I don't know if does GameStop care about Warp Zone though?
No.
I think they're trying to get in a little piece of their business by doing the used game stuff, but not in terms of like, selling, new retail games. They don't care about them.
That reminds me of, if you buy a vinyl record, you get a code with it, because otherwise you can only listen to that record on your record player. So, but you already supported the band by paying for it. Because also, if you're like, I think of this way, when I buy a vinyl record, cool, I don't have a download code, so I'm going to go use Spotify that the band see like virtually no money from when I listen to their songs, but I bought their record. It's not exactly comparable, but I'm totally on board. Like if every game included a download code.
Yeah, I'm on board with that, but I feel like maybe this way madness lies. I'm not sure if the ecosystem of the games industry would survive. In my head, I feel like there's a big flaw there. I'm not sure why.
There's certainly some stuff that would have to get worked out. I'm not suggesting that.
I want to return this game. It doesn't work anymore. I didn't like it. You used was the download code in there? There was no download code in there, sir. This was sealed when you bought it. See ya.
And so maybe it could be something that, like, in order to participate, you have to register maybe your Xbox gamer tag or something like that, and then the person, they can, I don't know, look and check that's like, oh, you registered it already on your fucking account. We can see that you activated it, and so no, we aren't going to allow you to return this.
The thing is, in theory, people could I could do a deal with a mate down the road and be like, oh, we both got Xbox One, Series X's or whatever. Yeah. I'll buy this game. I've got no space in my flat, so I'll use the download code. You can have the physical game. Go halvesies. So
yeah, I'm sure people would do that, and people did the same thing when you could share your PlayStation username accounts and stuff like that. And so you'd activate your console at mine, or I'd activate Scotty's console, and he'd activate mine. And so now we're trading. Do that.
But all Sony was thinking was like, oh, they'll sync up their Vita to their PS3, and they were thinking everybody will be nice and legal with that.
There's always going to be some way to skirt the system, and so you just have to find a way that it's, I think from a business perspective, that it's livable with. Like, you can live with this small percentage of people that are going to get free shit or team up with the buddy, but does it make sense on a large scale? But beyond that, that's, I think that was a fun, maybe side conversation. But just to answer the question, we'll go around the room. Graham, which company do you think has done a better job? And ultimately, which console are you going to go with? And either at launch, or what's the first console you're going to get, maybe post-launch?
So I do actually feel Xbox has done a better job leading up to it. I feel like the reveals they've done have just been that little bit better. I'm not sure if everyone would agree with me on that, but I feel like the timing of them showing off the actual console, what it looks like, to some of the games that's coming on it, not necessarily the launch games, but they showed some games coming up, which I thought was really good. Then they had another session where they showed off more of the launch games, and then they revealed the price of the console. So they did that all a little bit earlier than like Sony, it seemed. And I feel like it smooths over some of the crap that happened with the Xbox One launch, where they're like, oh, we're going to do this cool idea about, blocking people's accounts and stuff if they don't log onto the internet every day or something. And everyone was like, what the fuck? This is bullshit. Blah, blah, blah. Also, the Xbox One's going to be really expensive and the PlayStation 4 is going to be more powerful but cheaper. All that stuff. Like from memory, the PlayStation 4 was a little bit cheaper, or the same price, but the Xbox One was
I think it was $100 cheaper.
Yeah,
it's like something. Out the camera of the PS4.
Yeah, that was it. Xbox was like, every game's gonna have Kinect, it's gonna be amazing. Blah, 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 but wait, actually,
scan your skateboard.
Yeah, I love the idea of the Kinect, but it just did not work out. Like the general premise, I thought this sounds like it could be cool. It's got some cool features, but yeah, it did not.
I will say the one thing, I'm just going to jump in because I'll forget it.
Yeah.
The one thing I liked about the Kinect more than the Sony thing, eventually Sony did this though, was how you could say Xbox record that or whatever.
Okay.
That was just easier to spit that out quicker than hitting a button and holding it down and messing up your gameplay. That's my short tangent.
Anyway, but yeah, so yeah, I think they smoothed over a lot of stuff. It's a shame that Halo, the flagship title for the console, is not coming out anymore, but I guess I'd rather them have a finished, better looking game than one that's maybe not so good. I like the PlayStation 5's PlayStation Plus collection idea. I feel it's probably not quite there compared to Game Pass. I feel like Game Pass is actually a really solid thing. I think it's really impressive. But for people like me who never really got to play on the PlayStation 4, it basically seems to be just a list of top PlayStation 4 games, which I guess a lot of people might have played if they're big Sony fans. But I have.
Now you can play Detroit Become Human.
Woohoo! Yes. Other games on PlayStation, I think Oddworld seems cool. The Harry Potter game looks okay. Miles Morales, I like the Spider-Man games in general. I think that should be good. But otherwise, I'm not bothered about PlayStation 5. Xbox Yakuza does excite me more than any of the other games I've seen on both consoles. I just like Yakuza. I think it's really cool. I'd love to play that game. And I think personally, I just think the Xbox looks nicer. It's not all about what the console looks like at the end of the day, but if I was to have one in my room and show it off, I'd rather have an Xbox. But so I'm going to say Xbox, although I feel like I'm not as excited for this generation as I have been for other generations. As we went through that list of games, I feel like most of these games are either on other consoles or they're old, last generation games. I feel like nothing new's coming out this generation at launch. It's just kind of like, well, I know great games are coming out, but yeah. And then, there was one other thing I was going to say. I can't remember what it was. Oh, that was it. The Xbox Series S, I guess. Could talk about Game Pass very briefly. I guess the Xbox Series S, even though it's less powerful, it seems, at least over in the UK, they're trying to pitch that, almost selling it like a mobile phone contract, where you can buy. You buy it for like £20. I think
that's everywhere.
Oh, is it everywhere? Okay, that's cool because you spend like £20 a month or something, and you get the Xbox Series S, but you also get Game Pass Ultimate, so you get access to over 100 games. I think, like, for some people, that's a really cheap option. It's like, wow, I can spend £20 a month and I've got all these games out of the box straight away. That's amazing. So
I think that's for both the X and the S, right?
Over here, I've only seen the S advertised with that deal because it's like £20 a month, and you get the console and the Game Pass Ultimate. And I think it's like it's almost like a 2-year contract type thing. At the end of 2 years, you've got the console and you get to keep the games and stuff, obviously. You get I don't know. But I haven't seen that for the Series X. So anyway, long answer shortened. Maybe the Xbox?
Impossible. Maybe the Xbox. Oh, so it's a hard maybe?
I felt like Yakuza is the only game that's really excited me on the Xbox at the moment.
Are you doing it launch day, though? That's my question. Are you doing either of these launch day?
I was thinking of Xbox at launch day, and now I'm not so sure. I may wait at least a couple of months and see what happens.
Interesting.
Maybe get it for Christmas instead. You know,
That's interesting. For those, if this is your first episode of the podcast ever with the Megavision show, that's a big deal coming from Graham, because he just talks about his xCloud and he loves Bill Gates.
of course I do.
He's the most ardent of Xbox fanboys as they come. So I'll say that honestly, I don't think either company has done a very good job of communicating to their audience of like what these systems are going to be and stuff. It just seems like I think both companies were so scared to show their hand, to show what it is, and risk the other company coming in after them. And either undercutting them on price or specs or something. So what ended up happening is they waited right until the very last minute that they could to start actually giving out details. Think about this: like the PlayStation 5, reveal for the price happened this past week, and we're only a couple months away from these things like coming out. That's ridiculous. That's like That's just not how.
Actually, not even a couple of months. It's September 20th, and these are due out early November.
Yeah, the 12th or something.
Not even 2 months away.
Exactly, and it's coming up very quickly. I still haven't seen that, that whole thing that you usually see. Usually it's at E3, but it's like someone on stage with the system, with the controller in their hand. They put a disc in, it boots up on a giant screen, and you watch them play it. Like, I've yet to see that on either.
We haven't seen the actual dashboards yet, have we?
No, we haven't. Right.
And I want to see someone demoing all that stuff. Like I want EA to come in and show like what are these awesome, sports apps that no one's ever going to use and they're going to abandon it. There's been none of that, and so I feel like there's not the pop in circumstance. There's not, the recognizable people from either company that that always talk about these new systems. They haven't been around, and it just seems like with COVID and everything else, like it's just no one's that excited about it. And you're right, with like a very lackluster launch lineup from both companies, and that all equals to just I think people aren't as excited for these as you think they would be. And for me, the loss of Halo was a big deal because I was all on Series X. I was like, I'm going to get the Series X. I love Game Pass. Of all the games that I want to play at launch or near launch, Halo's the one I want, and so I'll buy it for that. But then when they delayed it, at that point, then I'm looking at it again. I'm like, what is it that I really, really want? And there's not a lot there. So to say that though, I think after the Sony PS5 reveal this past week, I think I'm leaning towards a PS5. I think that they're doing a really good job of getting some solid titles, and you've got Sony's first person or first
party.
Thank you. God damn it. Sony's first party is untouchable. Like they're so good, and so you're going to have all of those great games. So I think over the long haul, the PS5 is where I'm going to go. But when Halo and some other really good games come out on the Xbox, I'm going to get an Xbox Series X as well. It's just a matter of time.
So are you saying you're going to get a PS5 at launch, or you'll hold off a little bit?
I think I'm kind of like you, Graham. I think I'm going to hold off. I think I'm going to hold off on the first wave. I'm going to sit back at launch, and I'll be fine with it. And probably around Christmas time is probably when I'll pick one up.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So Scotty, how about you?
I will say, so the reason I haven't said much is because this is where video games are right now. We found this quote, Final Fantasy 16, a new Final Fantasy adventure will be arriving on the PS5 as a console exclusive, as well as PC, and possibly Xbox One down the line. It's like, I need some sort of certainty with anything. What are you doing? That aside, though, I've been less excited with every announcement coming out. Like, the only thing I cared about in the PS5 most recent look was Resident Evil 8, which I can just play on my PC probably, and the Miles Morales stuff, which I can do on my PS4 apparently. We talked about Halo Infinite, how that is a punch to the gut, and I do like the Halo games, but not open world. It's and like I even said, I confessed to my friend Sarah, who she and I worked at GameStop for years together, and we like to give an idea of where we were with our opinions. We basically stocked the Vita section in our store because she and I were the only ones like pre-ordering Vita stuff at one point. But I said to her, I'm like, I'm worried I just don't like video games anymore. And she's like, no, what it is there, a lot of games are pandering to the screaming children of today. And it's not so much the soul and everything that's put into them like they were. Nobody's taking as many risks, which is why I go with more indie stuff and a lot of like limited runs and physical runs of stuff. And I'm not super excited about this upcoming generation. I ended up getting a PS4 because it was free through my job. I don't know that happens anymore. The Xbox One I got with Halo 5 when it came out. I got that limited edition, and I traded it. I gave that edition to my buddy AJ, who's a huge Halo fan, and then I traded his Xbox in, so that someone would appreciate that crazy silver console and everything. But I'm not excited for anything happening, and it might have to do with the exclusives. The one thing that I thought of, people watching will see me go like, oh, because I thought, if anything, maybe I could get the Xbox One, the weakest version, so to speak, since that's only like $300 is a more reasonable thing in this difficult economy than like $400 or $500. But also, since I traded in my Xbox One so quickly, maybe that Series X, I could do that and like catch up on the Xbox One games that I missed and stuff. Yeah. I just thought of that right now. Like that might be how some people go, since arguably they'll say PS4 won this generation, whatever. So maybe less people that grab the one could get that Series X version. I'm not getting anything at launch. I'm waiting to see. It's going to be very much a, what are my friends playing that I'll need to get to hop online and play with them.
Yeah.
And it's to say, but I'm honestly more excited to get a Polymega than I would be either of these right now.
That's fair.
I already have my Polymega pre-ordered, so that's on its way. I can see myself honestly playing that more than either of these consoles if I got them both the same day.
Yeah, we did a watch party for the PS5 thing, and I was quiet most of the thing because I'm just like, care about Final Fantasy. Definitely never playing any of these Souls games because I don't want to get angry when I'm playing games. So that's just me. I'm just not excited for. I'm not excited for anything. Why am I living? No, it's different times, and I like my retro physical stuff. And neither of these consoles have strong. Oh, the question was who's been better communicating. Microsoft has very much been. You can play our games on whatever you want to. We don't care where, but you can play them. And if you want to get a Series X, go for it. But you can play these on PC. Whereas Sony has not communicated a lot. It's not that they never once said it's going to be backwards compatible. People really misreceived that somewhere. And I do think the PS Plus bonus, whatever it is a cool idea to start out with, because there are games in there that raised bars here and there, like between God of War. I know Detroit Become Human, David Cage is not whatever, but that game did stuff that others don't, and it did different things technically that was really impressive. But so I think that's a good place if everybody skips the PS4 exclusives. Like, check out these games that raise the bar in different areas, but it's not on par with Game Pass yet at all. It's going to take them. Microsoft has a stronger ecosystem. Sony has strong exclusives, but Microsoft's been way more clear about what they're doing. I feel like I'd rather hang out with Phil Spencer than I would whoever's heading Sony right now. If that says anything,
Yeah, I think that's sort of where my head's been at. That I just feel like Xbox has been communicating things just a little bit better. Like, I'm not so super happy with their lineup at the moment, but I feel like they've just communicated things. I kind of know where I am with them. Whereas you say with PlayStation 5, what is the deal with backwards compatibility? Because I'm actually not sure. Is it just...
They've said that they have confirmed that the majority of the PlayStation 4 library works on it. They've not said anything about 1, 2, or 3. But also, the PS3 hardware is so difficult to... They didn't future-proof that thing. And the simplest example is how you can't change your username without actually losing some information, your gamer tag.
Yeah.
That's a whole other thing for another time. But I think the PS2 is also difficult to emulate for, so that's really why, like, it's not as easy as popping in a PS1 disc into the PS2. It's so they they've essentially said that hardware is impossible. They stopped making PS2 compatible PS3s because people were still buying PS2s when the PS3 was out, but also they were losing money on every PS3 that was launched essentially.
And we didn't get that in the UK. We had
really?
Some games are emulatable. Some PS2 games are emulatable on PS3, but we didn't have the internal hardware that you had in America and Japan at launch. So I think like 10 games worked or something ridiculous. It's like not that impressive at all.
Interesting.
So yeah, we got screwed.
It would honestly be a deal breaker for me if the PS5 was fully backwards compatible to everything, because that would get rid of 3 consoles on my shelf right now.
Yeah, if that was the case, I would have jumped on PS5 immediately, basically. But
right.
Yeah. Anyway,
that's me.
I guess, Chris, have you got any last comments to say, or?
No, I think this console is going to be fine. This generation of consoles is going to be fine. I think it was just there. I mean, there was just this would have all been different if coronavirus didn't happen. I will say that. I'm very confident that if coronavirus and the whole pandemic didn't happen, we would be in a different place right now in terms of like how Sony and Microsoft went up to the reveals and everything. So gotta kind of understand that.
Been delayed.
Right. So, but overall, right now at launch, I'm underwhelmed and I'm fine with sitting back a little bit. But hey, Poly Mega time, baby.
Woo, yeah. Cool. Maybe we should bring back Old Man Gamer. He knows where it's at. Anyway, leave him in the cupboard. No, it's fine. Cool. I think that will do it for the show, the discussion, and the show this week. So thanks everyone for watching, for listening, for being where you are in life, and just being awesome people. And yeah. And if you are interested in still donating to Extra Life for our Dreamcast 24-hour marathon, please do so. It is still open for donations. And if you want, are the videos now available online, all the different videos, Scotty,
not yet.
Or?
Those are still being edited. We're going to get clips together and have kind of a summary thing, and then also a playlist like we do every year, chop it up into individual hours. Whenever we do stream, you can still scroll down below on the Twitch screen and click on either the banner or my name to donate, because we can take those donations up through November. So it would be really cool to hit the $1,500 mark.
Yeah, it'd be really good. And yeah, once those videos are live, we'll let you know. And it's really awesome. There's some really good Dreamcast games we looked at, especially some of the weirder ones like Ill Bleed, Tokyo Bus Guide's always a favorite, Pen Triathlon. We had a blast. It was
unreleased
really fun.
stuff.
Unreleased stuff, yeah. So yeah. Anyway, guess that'll do it. And catch you later.
See you later.
Bye, everybody.
See ya.